It's the same thing. Okay. Ready.
Okay, welcome. Benvindo to the Glenn and Glenda show. Thank you for watching us. We've been really thrilled with the response. We can't say how grateful we are and appreciative. And we're here today to talk about buying a house, but more particularly the 7 big scary things, at least to Americans, for buying a house in Portugal.
Right. So why don't we get started with number 1?
All right. Number 1 is the biggest, the scariest, the transfer tax. So I really thought I had done my homework and my due diligence before we left the U.S. and understood all the costs, but there was this big, hairy transfer tax thing, and it was brutal. In fact, we had no idea. It's basically a chunk of money that the government, the Portuguese government, takes off of every buyer of a home. So it's a sliding scale depending on how much your house is. So we didn't know what it would be once we found out it existed, but there is a website, we'll put it down below, called idealista.com. So we started looking for houses on that, and we were able to, if you scroll down, that actually calculates, depending on the price of the house you're looking at, it'll calculate the transfer tax. But let me warn you, it can go up to 10% of the total cost of your home. So that was an outlay of cash that we really hadn't anticipated. That's the big one you need to be prepared for. And number 2,
real estate agents only represent the seller. We're having a little bit of wind, folks, but that's okay. We're going to carry on. So this is something that is different than the States in that the buyer has a real estate agent and the seller has a real estate agent. So obviously, as the buyer, the real estate agent is going to be looking out for your interests. Not only that, they will be showing you houses based on the criteria that you give them. So I know when I look for a house, I actually enjoyed it. It's like looking for a car or something. Oh, let's see what this one looks like. And you know, nowadays they have websites that are like in 3D where they give you a virtual tour of the house. But getting back to what we're talking about.
Not here.
Right. The real estate agent is basically working for the seller, not the buyer. So what do you have to add to that?
Oh, just that there's no such thing as a real estate agent if you're a buyer here. That's very simple.
So you basically, your best course of action is to get on the website and start searching for houses. And then when you see, maybe you can narrow it down to 3 or 4, or whatever you want to look at in a day, then instead of telling your real estate agent, because you're not going to have one, you just call whatever property that you're interested in looking in, and then you set up an appointment to look at the property.
And then once you've done that with that real estate agent, I had a number 3 here. Maybe we should have listened to my son. Oh, yes, about finding your own house. My son said we were really old school with the flashcards, but we decided we liked it. So yes, finding your own house, as Glenn said, it's up to you. And that website, idealista.com, is really good. It's got a map. You can scroll around. You know, you can calculate if you choose to have a mortgage. But again, you're on your own, folks, when it comes to finding a home. And once you call on a property, that person is going to say they've got a lot of properties to show you. Oh, I've got a lot more. If you didn't like that one, I've got many more. But they're only going to show you the properties that they have listed because it's the only way they make money. So don't stick with that first agent that you happen to call on a home. Make sure you call the different ones and make sure you kind of go out there and drive, and you really are becoming your own real estate agent.
But if I may add, one of the advantages of that, and this is something that Glenda and I found in the process of driving around and looking at the different properties, if you've never been to the Algarve, that's a really great way to learn the area.
That's true. We drove all the way out to Tavira, which is far to the east, almost to Spain, and really decided we ended up in the western area here because we just loved Lagos and the surrounding area. So a lot of people have asked where we live.
Right, and even though this is the area that we originally had in mind, we wanted to be open-minded, and that's why we looked at places in Tavira.
And we rented. Again, we said that in the previous video. We rented for months. Before you buy a place, obviously you need to sort of live here, rent, and decide. I can't believe you wouldn't love it, but just in case, make sure that you rent and understand the different seasons and the tourism in the summer and things here.
It's a good idea.
So number 4, I think this is me.
Yes.
I don't know. Okay, number 4 is you must hire a lawyer here. It's not a choice. You must. And really, it's a great idea, as it turns out, because since you don't have an agent working for you, the lawyer becomes the person who's looking out for your interest. And we have a great one. We will put her name and contact number here. She's in Lagos. Ana Luisa Duarte was amazing. She really helped us through the process, and she really, we made it a little complicated. We'll talk about that later, but she really helped us through all the steps. It was easy. And yes, it's costly, but it was worth every euro.
As it were.
Yes. And you're up.
Okay, so mortgages must be paid by age 75. So obviously that is something that's going to affect us. You see the gray hair. And again, something that's different than in the States. I know that late in life, I took out a mortgage, and I had done that before. And I thought, wow, I'm in my 50s. I took out a 30-year mortgage without any question whatsoever. I thought, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. It's a little bit different here.
Yes, very much so. So for us, we thought, it would be a little insane. The interest rates are so incredible right now. It's hard to believe it, but it's mid-November here. This is stunning. And the interest rates are, gosh, I think a fixed is around 2% and a little bit less than that for a variable. And so to us, it didn't make a lot of sense to just buy a house with cash when those interest rates, you just can't beat that. But again, if we were going to have to pay it off by the time we, not so far in the distant future, turned 75, that was going to be a struggle. So instead, one of the big, scary, but kind of good surprises here is you can, if you have a very trusted adult child, you can put the mortgage in their name. So I have a son, my wonderful son, who I trust completely. So we put the home in his name. And so obviously they have to qualify for the mortgage, and they have to go through, he thinks I put him through just misery getting all of this. It wasn't all that much, but he did a lot of things, and long distance was hard, right. Which kind of leads to what we did on the percentage down. So as a stranger, a foreigner, an estrangero in the Algarve here, you have to put between 20 and 30% down on a mortgage. The difference is if you put 30% down, you have no issues. If you decide you wanted to save the cash and put 20% down, which sounded like a great idea, we thought we would just put it in his name, put 20% down. Unfortunately, although that sounds easy, and a lot of the Brits here do this, they put it in their kids' names. Unfortunately, they have a kid that's just,
hop, skip, and jump
away, right? They can fly them in. They can get the test for life insurance, because if you put 20% down, that you have to have life insurance on the person buying the property. Mm-hmm. So my poor son was running around trying to get testing, and it's pretty intense. It's heart and stress tests and all this blood work.
Comprehensive.
Very. And of course in the US that's incredibly expensive, tough to schedule with different doctors. In the end we wanted this place so much, we threw up our hands and said, all right, we're going to put the 30% down, as painful as that was, on top of the transfer tax. So just be prepared, but we have to say it's so worth it.
Worth every drop of sweat, every euro.
Every day, we're so in love with, we fell in love with the property when we walked in. It's one of those things, you know it
right
when you
off
walk
the bat,
in. And
as soon as we saw it.
We saw this listing, and we just went crazy. In fact, we call this, you'll see it, we're about to show you because we wanted to inspire you why it's so worth doing this. You'll see the listing we have. We rent this place in July and August when we flit about the world. It's wonderful. And you can get terrific rental here in the Algarve because it's such a coveted place to go to for Europeans in the summer. Mm-hmm. And we're on a golf course, which is also lovely, even though that's a tennis outfit.
I just came back from tennis.
And so we don't golf, but we're still having a blast, and we wanted to show you the property. And by the way, take note of that little website that's on there. That's our mortgage, or not a mortgage, our rental company, management company.
If you want to pay our mortgage, you're more than welcome to.
But that's our rental company. So if you'd love to, we would love to encourage you to come and rent our property in the summer, July or August. We've already got 3 weeks, I think, rented. So, and it's November of the previous year. So jump in, rent it. It's a great base to see the Algarve and plan for your fabulous retirement. All right. And join us here.
Thanks again for watching, folks.